Okay folks, so if you look closely at the water in the middle of the screen, you see some turbulence. Now those are schools of fish that are coming by. Let's check that sunset out. Oh, that's a nice one. And I did see a boat, a ship I should say. Yeah, he's heading north. It's only like 6:48 and the sun's already setting. It's crazy. Okay, so tonight I'm making seared chicken with honey and rosemary. Let's check it out. Hey folks, it's Chef Kevin. Tonight I'm making pan-seared chicken with rosemary and honey. This is an easy meal to make, and it's another one-pot meal. And it's nice and healthy and tasty, of course. So let's take a look at the ingredients. Okay, there's really not a lot going on here as far as ingredients. I have some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. These are from a local farm and they're organic and free range. I like to use the boneless, skinless because it cooks quickly. Okay, the other items I have here are the rosemary. That goes very well with chicken. That's fresh rosemary, of course. I have some crushed red pepper flakes. If you don't like spicy, if you don't like hot, you don't have to have those, of course. Fresh garlic, pepper, salt, herb de Provence. This is a dried mix of oregano, rosemary, and lavender. I have half of a lemon, honey, pine nuts. If you're not familiar with pine nuts, this is a nut that's fairly common in Italian food. Has a very nice taste to it. And I have some organic dried cranberries. This is going to be interesting. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is prep the chicken. That shouldn't take long. Okay, so prepping the chicken. This is very easy. There's 4 in a package, but I'm only going to use 3 for now. And what I want to do is just dry them with a paper towel, try to get any excess water off of them. This way they don't spatter all over the place, creating a mess. I'm also going to trim them up a bit, get rid of that little excess there that's not attractive. Here as well. Here as well, you don't want that hanging over the side like that. Okay, so I have 3 nice organic chicken thighs here. This is cracked ground pepper, fresh pepper, sea salt. Both sides, of course. This may look like a lot, but most of it falls off. More pepper on this side. Okay. Gonna put some herb de Provence on that. Both sides, of course. Okay. So I have some seasoning on the cutting board. So as not to waste it, I'm just going to toss these fillets around and pick up the residual spices. This stuff costs money. Done. Rosemary. I'm just going to strip the leaves off the stem. You don't want the stems. Get one more here. A quick chop. Rosemary done. Now I'm using fresh rosemary. And I'm using rosemary in the herb de Provence. It's in a dried form, but they have two different tastes. So that's the reason why I'm doing that. Okay, let's go to the stove. Rosemary in. Some red pepper flakes, a good tablespoon. I'm going to put some very thin slices of garlic in there. I'm actually using a truffle cutter. And this cuts them very thin. These are wafer thin, just like Polly did.
In prison, dinner was always a big thing. We had a pasta course, and then we had a meat or a fish. Paulie did the prep work. He was doing a year for contempt, and he had this wonderful system for doing the garlic. He used a razor, and he used to slice it so thin that it used to liquefy in the pan with just a little oil. It's a very good system.
You don't want to mess with Polly, that's for damn sure. Okay, stir that up a bit. Wake up all those flavors. Chicken in. Gonna sear this for about 5 minutes per side. Get a nice little caramelization to it, nice little color. Bring those flavors up. Okay, that was about 5-6 minutes per side. They're looking pretty good. I added some oil during the cooking process because the pan was getting kind of dry. Now there is some residual fat in there, so what I'm going to do is take the chicken out and put it aside and pour out the grease. Okay, the pan is still pretty hot, so I have the heat turned down. I'm going to put my chicken back in. Have a little chicken juice. Put that in. Okay, I have my lemon juice and honey mix here, 2 tablespoons of each. Put that right in. This is going to give it a nice glaze. Just a couple of minutes per side. I'm going to go ahead and put some pine nuts in there. There's a few tablespoons full. My cranberry, dried cranberries. Let that heat up a bit. Nice and golden brown. And I'm serving this with basmati rice tonight. That's an Indian style rice. Very fragrant, very healthy. Very good. Okay, these are just about ready to come off, and I'm going to plate it for you. So here we have it, folks. Pan-seared chicken thighs with honey and rosemary. Garnish that with dried cranberries and pine nuts and a little parsley. And have a little garnish, rosemary on top. Throw that out. The rice is spot on. The pine nuts add a little chewiness. This is very good chicken. It's sort of like a take on sweet and sour, which is very common in American Chinese food, where they throw a whole bunch of sugar onto the food. This is very good. There's so much flavor in here with the fresh rosemary. The sweetness of the cranberries really accents the chicken quite well. And this was technically not a difficult meal to make at all. So you should go ahead and try it. Okay, folks, until later, hasta mañana.